I'm Jim Fuller. I'll be your co-host tonight, and it's my pleasure to be working with Chris Barstead, the news anchor from Live. And we hope that in a few minutes we'll be having you some election results. Tonight's race is kind of short, only 4 people in the race from for the Tullahoma Alderman seats, 2 Tullahoma Alderman seats.
So, and that's what I was getting ready to say is, we've got 4 people, 2 seats. So, and we have 4, really great candidates, and they're all local people. They all grew up here.
That's true. That's true. So. And so, they've certainly know about the town and know about any issues that we might have. And I have to say that right now, probably in Tullahoma, there's things are going well, and people are pretty well happy with the way things are going.
Oh, yes.
But all the candidates have raised other things that they'd like to be interested in.
For sure. And they're wonderful. I mean, I always love listening to Jackie when he talks about, the fact that he was born at Camp Forest.
That's right.
How many people that live here in Tullahoma, grew up, born here in Tullahoma, can say they were born at Camp Forest?
And I'll have to say that until this election cycle, and I've known Jackie forever, I did not know he was born at Camp Forest. But find out something new every day.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, he went to Davidson Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, so we've got a person who has lived so much history that has made Tullahoma what it is.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, of course, we have Rupa, who I went to high school with her, and Daniel as well. Dad, they were both a little bit younger than me, but I knew Rupa's older sister a little bit better than I knew her. And then Daniel, I just knew him because we had mutual friends, like he was friends with younger siblings and all that.
Right.
So, it was always...
And that's Rupa Blackwell and Daniel Berry, in case you don't, we kind of know them now. So.
This is true.
Yeah, right. So.
And then Stephen, he was in school with one of my older brothers.
I see.
And so just, I've known these people, a lot of them the majority of my life. So.
And they're energetic people. They've got great ideas, and it's going to be interesting how it comes out tonight. However, I think no matter who gets elected, the city of Tullahoma is going to be better off for it. So.
Oh, for sure. I know when I came back to Tullahoma, strange enough, Stephen, I ran into him out at the airport, and he was just really welcoming and accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
Who's not running for re-election? We have 2 seats open.
Renee Keene.
Okay.
And Alderman Keene decided she wasn't going to run this time.
That's correct, and which was kind of a surprise for me. She has done a great job as alderman, and was very popular. And I'd heard rumblings that she might actually run for mayor next year. So
I've heard those rumors too.
Yeah, so it was kind of a surprise to me when I learned that she would not run again for alderman.
It was, and Alderman Keene has always been a wonderful. As a member of the media, if you needed to know something going on in the city, one of the initiatives she was involved in, always been just a wonderful person to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me clarify that a little bit. Just because she didn't run for alderman does not mean that preclude her from running for mayor next year. So.
Oh no, not at all.
That may be what the strategy is. We don't know.
Well, we have a lot of wonderful people that really care about our community. And of course, Alderman Keene, Alderman Duncan for that.
Right.
Who also happens to be one of our county commissioners.
Right.
So, and just a lot of stuff going on. Of course, then you have Daniel and all the stuff he's involved in, bringing industry back to town and with business and everything. And then we have Rupa and her involvement in various things, especially the art center. So, I mean, just these are great people.
They are, and I think Rupa, we were talking prior to going on the air, was Citizen of the Year, Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
Citizen
she was.
of the Year last year, so quite popular, very energetic, involved in a lot of things.
Oh, for sure. And of course, mentioning the art center, have you been by and seen the mural yet?
I have. Super, absolutely.
It's wonderful. That color is absolutely, it just makes everything pop. That white building, it's a beautiful historic home, but when they put that put the octopus and all that on there, it just brightens it up.
Yeah, you have to admire those people, and Rupa was part of that, I think, in organizing that. But you have to admire those people, though, for the great job they did on that. I don't know, but it takes creative people to come up with that. By the way, we're talking to Randy Brewer, who's our producer here today, folks. He's behind the scenes. Next year, we may put him on the air with us, or at least get a camera on him, because this guy knows some stuff.
Oh, for sure. And actually, we were talking about the Art Center. A lot of that involvement was Scott Van Velser and Kristen Luna.
Right.
And Tarabella Behar, I believe was her last name, is an artist who actually painted it and came up with the creative idea for that. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just,
It sure is. It's truly amazing sometimes at the talent that you'll find right here in Tullahoma.
Oh, for sure. I mean, from professional athletes to professional musicians, and the interesting thing about our little community is all of these folks are always willing to come back and give back to this community that helped them grow.
All right. Daniel Berry, who is a candidate for tonight, I think he works in a company that actually helps school boards and cities and that sort of thing organize and get themselves together and that kind of thing. So.
Oh, yes. I mean, and he brought it back here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was looking forward to I think he said he was living in Texas, and then as soon as the company said, hey, we can put you back in Tullahoma, he was like, send me home.
Yeah, right. Daniel kind of had a new twist, I think, to campaigning this time and I just actually met Daniel during this campaign. But he had this front porch discussion, and where he talked to people on Facebook, I think, and kind of a new twist. I'd not seen that before.
It is. And I mean, he worked hard. He utilized a lot of technology and then held the meetings at various restaurants around town to meet people. And then Rupa, I know, spent a lot of time going door to door, as well as I know Stephen did a lot of door to door and just out and about and meeting everyone. And then, of course, Jackie does the same thing. You can't look at an event and not find Jackie somewhere in the crowd.
Right.
So they all have worked very hard.
I guess all of these candidates, if they don't win tonight, they've got plenty to do to keep them busy. So
oh, for sure.
Any of them.
And the fact that I know how busy they all are, I'm surprised they actually had time to run a campaign.
Amazing.
So, and it is exciting out there. Now, what time are we getting to now? So
well, let's see. It is about
about 7 after 7. So the polls are closed now, and hopefully we'll be getting some results here in the next few minutes.
Right. And the way this works, folks, actually, we have people that will be at the polls when they close, and they'll be collecting those totals and sending them back to us here at the studio. The early voting will be reported by the Election Commission, and I think, Chris, we'll probably get that about 7:20, 7:30, something like that.
I know that's about the time we'll definitely get the, what do you call that, the early voting results.
Early and absentees, yes.
We have some numbers already in from one of the polls.
All right, from the senior citizens there. Daniel Berry, no, wait a minute. Rupa Blackwell leading there, 42. Daniel Berry with 34. Jackie Duncan in second with 37. And Stephen Landers with 14. So, yeah, pretty tight there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those Daniel, Rupa, and Jackie are all neck and neck.
Yeah, not much separating the top three.
Well, and that's, I think, what a lot of us have expected to see is those three have just been so tight the whole campaign. You go out and talk to people in the community, who are you voting for, and it's almost evenly split between those three. Yeah,
and it does, however, look like the turnout was a little bit light, actually maybe a lot light there. And of course this is an election where these four races are the only races in the county. So,
and the funny part is, as far as like direct impact on our lives, these municipal elections are probably the most important election to go out and vote in. The presidential election, it's important, but it doesn't have the direct impact on us that these aldermen, county commissioners, mayor have on our everyday lives.
Yes.
So
absolutely. We might point out also that I'm pretty sure, Randy, that does not include early voting. We don't have that yet. So that's who voted today. So
Yes.
right, okay,
And that was, I think we had Mary Mealer went and picked those results up for us today.
okay, great.
So, from First Christian.
First Christian, another light turnout there, but Jackie Duncan leads there with 32 votes, followed by Rupa with 29, Daniel with 20, and Stephen Landers with 10.
Oh yeah, and like I said, Stephen is just such a nice man.
He is a nice guy.
He's
Lived here all his life. His family's lived here all his life, as has all the candidates, pretty much.
I went to school with his one of his younger brothers. He and I graduated together, and like I said, I was covering Bonnaroo out at the airport and met Stephen, and it was just such a welcoming
Yeah.
force.
Oh, here's the Lions Club. You want to read those for us?
Oh yeah, we have Daniel coming in with 120 votes, Rupa with 143, Jackie with 67, and Stephen with 25. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that Jackie numbers were down a little bit more over at the Lions Club.
I am too, and I'm also surprised again at the turnout that the Lions Club has 1,938 registered voters, and some of those voted early, but a pretty light turnout there.
But the heaviest so far that we've gotten reported. So, and I know a lot of those Lions Club folks have voted early, because a lot, just from folks I know that are going to vote early, a lot of them would be Lions Club voters.
Yeah, and actually early voting total was 864 people voted early, and that was up from 486 and the last time we had a race where there was just Tullahoma Alderman running.
Really?
So
we've got some more.
there's the National Guard.
That's
there.
my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So far totals we have. So National Guard armor we have. Jackie coming in. No, and that honestly doesn't surprise me so much. Jackie leading that area with 15. Daniel Berry with 11, Rupa Blackwell with 9, and Stephen Landers at 3. I know that's kind of a strong Jackie Duncan area over there.
Yeah, actually, and that's again a very light turnout. But I think we saw a screen with some totals on it over there. Okay, all right. We may be updating that right now. There are 11,456 registered voters in Tullahoma, by the way, according to Coffee County Election Commission. So I thought I had the lady's name that gave me that today, but I don't. So anyway, we better getting those for us.
During the early voting, it was nice to see Bernita Davis over there over at CD's Fan.
I saw her over there, yeah. Okay, here's your current totals. Overall, Rupa Blackwell leading 223, followed by Daniel Berry with 185, and Jackie Duncan with 151, Stephen Landers with 52. So Blackwell and Berry at this point are, now there's your current totals.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have, I see, okay.
Okay, so early voting numbers, we have Rupa Blackwell far ahead with 587 votes, with Jackie a pretty fair bit behind her with 452, and then Daniel even a little bit farther behind at 387.
Yeah, I think, is that just early, but that's not just, that's all.
That's early voting.
So that's just the early voting numbers, not, what's our total up to?
Okay, that's right. All right, there we go.
And all these numbers that we have are not the official numbers.
No, we've got to, that'll be certified by the election commission.
On the 15th, on August 15th,
Yeah,
they
right.
will certify the election, because there's actually,
Current total, including early voting.
All right, these are the current totals, including early voting. And there we see Rupert Blackwell with 810, Jackie Duncan with 603 in second place, Daniel Berry with 572, Steve Landers with 195. So it's still a pretty close race for second at this point.
Oh,
I
yes.
think we have about 4 precincts in right now.
Let me look. We have First Christian, we have Lions Club, National Guard, Senior Citizens.
and that's,
Four precincts, and so still a close race for second right here.
Very true. And I mean, 30 was at about 34, 33 votes separating Jackie and Daniel right now. So it's, anybody's ball game at this moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as we promised, things should go pretty quick tonight, and it certainly has.
Oh, it has.
I think we got those totals in pretty quick from the poll runners who.
Oh, we have some great poll runners.
I gotta say,
because I know some of your guys are out covering, of course, and Nancy is out tonight.
Nancy is out tonight, and so Nancy, thank you. You did a good job.
And I know you have Andrew.
Somebody asked me, was I going to pay her? And I said, well, I don't think so, for goodness sakes.
That's the problem with a family-owned business, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's right. Exactly right.
Because everybody chips in and makes it happen.
Everybody needs to chip in. That's right.
But I know we have Drew out there running and getting numbers, and Philip as well. And I don't know the other young man that's not CJ this time.
No, it's not CJ. It's he's Pete James's son. I know that.
I know he runs the cameras down at City Hall from time to time.
Hall, he sure does. Yes.
And he's just a very nice young man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the others are man from by Light to people, I believe.
Yes, we have Taylor Lindsay. He's running down to the election commission. Mary Mealer, one of our CFO and vice president of administration and accounting.
Right.
Then we have Ann Sweeten, and I think is that all? And Monty Hawkins.
Okay. Right.
Who's our forester down here at TUA.
Right.
So Owen, Philip just told us it's Owen.
Owen
that's out there running. So
right.
We do appreciate you, Philip, for keeping us straight.
I know Owen, so I apologize for that. I just couldn't think of it for much. Owen Harpy, folks.
But no, I mean, and all wonderful folks, and we are thankful that they're all willing to give up some time on this Thursday night to help us bring these numbers to you guys out there in the public.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
all right, our last totals showed Rupa Blackwell there with a pretty good lead there, 810. I don't expect that to change before the night's over much, especially with the low turnout. There is, however, still some question about who will get that other seat there.
Oh, very true.
That's 31 votes difference between Daniel Berry and Jackie Duncan. So.
And like I said, and they're all three just great folks. So I think we would be fortunate to have any of them in office.
Citizens.
I meant all
no matter
four.
What. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they're all, and like I said, all great folks. And
right.
I think the first time I remember running back into Daniel, I was at one of the chamber events when he became a member of the chamber. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and then that in and of itself just shows that this gentleman has civic pride. So
yes, and got some great ideas. I had an opportunity to talk to him last Thursday night at the Civic Center for that event they had down there, and very knowledgeable young man, and knows I admire him wanting to take a chance, get out there and put his name out there and take a chance.
And that's a lot of, just to kind of go off on our local TV stations, whether you guys over there at P Head Productions or over here at Light Tube. I know Jamie Treadwell filmed all of these candidates so that our viewers could get some information, and you guys on Grassroots had all of them on there.
Right.
So, I mean, it's also the importance of local television.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't think the national stations were going to air
no, they're probably not all that interested in this kind of things. But as Chris mentioned earlier, this is a big deal if you live here.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Very big deal. I mean, and you have those that, some folks will complain and say, hey, we should have them all during the big election cycles and all that. But it doesn't matter when it is. It is a huge deal to get out and vote and exercise your civic right as a citizen of a community.
Right. It is a little disappointing when you have a light turnout, and I know the candidates really worked hard.
They did
to make this happen, but still, we're going through the process, and that's what America's about.
I smiled every day when I would pull out of the office over here onto Jackson Street, and I would see both Rupa and Daniel out there waving to everybody and greeting everyone. I mean, and that's just wonderful to see.
Daniel told me that he and Rupert were working on their high school reunion together. So,
I'm sure they are.
It's not like there's been a lot of civility in this race. There's not been any mudslinging or that kind of thing.
Oh,
so.
for sure. I mean, well, we all have quality folks here.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, all 4 of these candidates are wonderful people. They all know how to treat another person.
Right.
So I mean, and it makes a difference.
Yes, it does.
So because I believe they were both freshmen when I was a senior in high school. So
Yeah.
like I said, I knew Rupa's older sister a little bit better because she was a year ahead of me. And
Yeah.
But
I don't know why, Chris, but I thought you were about 25. I don't know.
Oh well, you know.
He told me. He told me outside before we started tonight that he was
little bit older than
past
that.
40, maybe.
Maybe just a few years.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but okay. Well, I think we're going to go take a commercial break right now, and then we'll be back with a few more numbers. Hopefully,
Yes.
we'll have some to update. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll be right back.
The wait is finally over. The all-new redesigned Ford Ranger is back at Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. Stop and test drive one today at Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on Highway 55, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
An annual event started in 1939 will continue when the World Grand Championships celebration will once again be held in Shelbyville, Tennessee at the Celebration Arena. Each year, people come from all over the world to contend for the coveted honor of being crowned World Grand Champion. From the wonderful flat shod to the exciting performance horse, they will fill the ring with the breed's best of the best. The celebration supports local charities, and this year they are asking everyone to come out and support the largest nonprofit event in Middle Tennessee and the charities that depend on this event to fund their cause. Come out and be a part of a family tradition by showing your support for the annual Walking Horse National Celebration. For ticket and box seat information, call 931-684-5915.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Of course, the coverage of the 2019 Alderman elections in Tullahoma, and right now we don't have any new numbers, but we can update the ones that we have previously, and this is with 4 precincts plus early voting reporting, and Rupert Blackwell, as you see, leading the ticket there with 810 votes, followed by Jackie Duncan with 603, Daniel Berry with 572, and Stephen Landers with 195, and it looks like Rupa's in really good shape right now. Chris, still a race, however, for that other seat.
Oh, it is. You know, I mean, I would not want to be sitting down at Daddy Billy's or Mount Zion right now. 'Cause
Right.
I'm sure they're both looking at these results and thinking, you know, because that happens to be, I think Jackie's over at Mount Zion doing some work for his community, and Daniel's down at Daddy Billy's also supporting another business in our community.
Right.
So just wonderful folks, and I would not want to be sitting at either of those establishments right now.
All right,
I'm sure
31
everyone
votes celebrating. Somebody will celebrate, but we don't know who yet.
Oh, no, not at all.
Separating those the two contenders for that other seat there. So.
Oh, yes, and I heard, and I know, I think Rupa's going to be spending time with, we mentioned Scott Van Velser and Kristen Luna earlier, so those guys are going to be getting together. I think Rupa said she was getting ready to leave the election commission. She was getting, trying to sit there and follow the numbers for a minute.
Right.
So,
and I think Randy said we might talk to some of these people.
We might, if they call us in, if they Skype in to us, we will chat with them and put them out live on the air.
Right.
So, and we look forward to hopefully that will happen.
Yeah. Okay.
It will just depend on, how technology works with us, shall we say?
Right.
So.
But one thing about it is that I always admired Randy and your crew, and even my crew as well at PED Productions, is they're not afraid to try some new stuff now.
Oh.
They'll try anything.
Oh, yes.
It may not work, but we'll try it.
Oh, and I love working with your guys because I'm out there with them at Bonnaroo every year. So, and we have Wilson Avenue's numbers now. So we have 50. Rupa Blackwell got 63 votes. Daniel Berry got 50. Jackie Duncan pulled in 30, and Stephen Landers was 16. And that's 20 extra votes. So he closed the gap a little bit
to 11, if by my calculation.
Oh yes.
All right. There's your current totals. So, and it is 11 votes separating Jackie Duncan and Daniel Berry for that other seat. We think. Rupa Blackwell, we almost could call that right now and call her a winner. But
it's with as only 5 precincts in, I'd say technically it would be too soon to call that. But being that it is a municipal election, lower turnout, I'd say that's a pretty safe bet that number is not going to change.
I'm pretty sure I would be confident that it wouldn't, because, as you just mentioned, it is a very low turnout tonight. So that's going to hold up for Rupa, but we've got a race here.
Oh, that second seat it's a nail biter right there. It makes you very nervous. We've got folks on our Facebook page. We definitely have Rupa Blackwell supporters tuning in, and we also have Daniel Berry supporters tuning in. So they're both, promoting their candidates.
Right.
So, but that's what happens when you have people that grew up in a community. You have that support for them and that passionate love that they will tell everybody who they're supporting.
Exactly.
So.
We're waiting on CD stamps in 2 districts in Grace.
Okay. So CD stamps and the results of CD stamps and the results out from Grace Baptist, which are 2 precincts.
2 precincts at Grace Baptist. One of them's got 82 registered voters in it, and the other one's got 1,761.
Oh, yes. I knew that one was real small.
Yeah, 82.
And that's a wonderful community over there.
It is. It really is.
I always enjoyed, I had several friends that lived out there when I was younger, and just always a wonderful community over there.
Grace Baptist is the 2nd largest post, I believe, in the city. Yes, it is, behind Lions Club. So 2 precincts left, one of them very small, and
3 precincts, I guess, technically.
2 at Grace.
Yeah, 2 at Grace and 1
Oh,
at
yeah,
Stamps.
right, correct.
So, and then, but that group over at CD Stamps, can change everything in a moment. They may not be the largest precinct in town, but they definitely carry some weight.
CD Stamps, by the way, there's really a lot of registered voters over there. 1149 registered to vote in CD Stamps, but the people that vote and live in Franklin County and still live in Tullahoma city limits vote there. So there's actually for this election a couple of thousand people over there. So.
Very true, and a lot of passionate voters over in that area as well. Because that community is definitely always been involved in politics, or at least for the last 70 years. Correct. If you live in the city of Tullahoma but are a Franklin County resident, you would vote at CD Stamps.
Correct.
During the municipal elections.
Right. and that's kind of a strange situation because I happen to be one of those. Because if I want to vote early in the regular elections, I have to go to Winchester to do that. So
over there by the old high school.
Yeah. So that was kind of strange. We just moved there a few years back, but so anyway.
And my brother's right there in that same ballpark because he lives just down the road from West Middle School, but he has to drive all the way to where Friendly County High School used to be, near downtown Winchester, to cast an early vote.
Right. We talked a little bit about the early voting, 864. That was pretty encouraging when compared to last time we had an election that just involved the Tullahoma City Alderman. Again, that was like a 400, almost twice as many votes.
Oh, yes.
But still in all, the turnout, that's like 7% early voted. Well, we'd like to think that there would have been at least that many voted today. So, any way you cut it, it's going to be a light turnout.
Oh,
probably
no question.
Probably below 20%.
And I think a lot of that has to do with, I know my age demographic, with two candidates being in that demographic, we tend to be a voracious lot that get out there a little bit more and energetic because, these guys are knocking on doors. Well, no, I'm just saying, we are getting, we're just now, it's the enthusiasm of newly, like now that we're all becoming homeowners and have kids in the school system, we pay a lot more attention to our municipal elections.
And I'm very proud of you guys for doing that, really.
So, because I know I've had several of my friends from high school have the last county commission election. I know one, she actually messaged me just a moment ago and ran for a county commissioner seat. Unfortunately did not win, but we're out there participating and trying to make a difference in our communities that we care and love about.
Right.
So, and that's probably one of the reasons why I joined the crew over here at TUA, just because I continuously help my community.
That's right. That's right. TUA is pretty, of course, we're here tonight doing the light tube thing, but TUA is pretty important, folks, especially if your lights go out. So, you want to get to know them real quick when your lights go out.
This is true.
Which doesn't happen much.
And we are fortunate that our line crews, our water crews, they will get out at all hours of the night.
Right.
I've seen them in my neighborhood. What was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, on a Thursday night, midnight, they were a street over from my house getting the power back on.
And that's pretty typical of them. And we've had some bad issues here in Tullahoma through the years. If you're as old as I am, you remember them like yes, that's it, the ice storm of 98. And, I don't know how they survived because guys were working 16, 18-hour days. Yeah. Randy Burr says they were a lot younger back then.
Well, it happens, Yeah, unfortunately, it does happen.
I'll tell you something, though, that I'm pretty impressed with about our utility system here in Tullahoma is the new solar farm.
Oh.
And I know you've been out there.
I have. And we had some really great guys involved. That was a company-wide project. It was spearheaded by Joseph, Pilkington. I always want to mispronounce his last name, but Joseph Pilkington was the kind of the project leader on that. But it wasn't just Joseph. It was our electric line crews. It was our ground crews, our water crews. Everybody was out there working because someone had to do the concrete work and dig the holes and, of course, wire everything up.
So are you saying you did that? You did that entire project with your people here at TUA?
Not in its entirety. The arrays were constructed by a company out of Atlanta. All that was assembled by them. But as far as clearing the ground, installing the transformer, the pads that everything was put on, constructing the road to get over to it, that was all our guys.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
At peak time, during peak times, it will power 24 homes.
And so, are you guys actually using that to to power these homes now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It went live back in April.
Yeah.
And then we had the ribbon cutting, what was that, in June, I believe it was?
I think it was the 1st of June. But
so I forget the exact dates, but no, we took it online and just to see how it was doing. And it's actually been performing better than average.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it's summertime, and this year we've had so much sunlight as opposed to, the last few years we've had a lot of rain and stuff during summertime. So we've been able to really maximize on that.
Is that something that you guys plan to grow over time?
Yes, that's why we actually started the Green Power, Tullahoma Green Power program. Mm-hmm. So that way, if people would like to invest in green power, this is a way to do it, and then as we have more people invest in green power, then we can expand our green power offerings.
Now, the green power option is something you can do on your utility bill. Is that the way?
Correct. It's $4 for a 100K block of power. If I'm not in the billing department, so you'll have to forgive my.
Well, we kind of got out of here off of the election subject, and we're asking Randy over here to give us facts that he may not have studied up on this. Maybe, I don't know.
He knows more than he lets on to.
All right, okay.
So, but at the same time, as important as we are, you guys over there at P-Head are just as important about keeping the community informed with everything that's going on around. From you have the walking horse guys to all the local events going on.
And it's a fun thing to do, and I've enjoyed it. I know you do too, Chris.
Oh, I do, and I enjoy working with your guys at any time,
We are still waiting on 2 precincts, I think, Randy said. Yeah, right, okay.
But what are our numbers at this moment?
All right, and Rupa Blackwell, who Chris and I at least declared a winner with 873, and the second place here, very much in doubt, as Duncan and Barry. Duncan with 633, Barry with 622, and 11 votes separating the two. And with 2, Grace Baptist is a pretty big precinct.
It is.
And actually, there's a lot of votes up there. At CD Stamps, yeah, big time. When you figure being a city election and you got those people that live in county voting there.
And that's the thing, and you could never say, oh well, it may be if either Jackie or Daniel were newer to the community, you could easily say, well, it's probably not going to change that much. But these are both folks that have been here.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the entirety of their lives.
Right.
They may, like myself, they may have migrated away for a little while, but they have returned back to Tullahoma. I guess we all listened and took the advice that Mayor Curley puts out for everyone, that he wants folks to come back to Tullahoma and raise their family and support our community.
Right. And Mayor Curley, by the way, has done an excellent job of being mayor. He gave me some bad advice one time, and he encouraged me to run for state representative.
Oh, goodness.
And that did not work out all that well for me, but I enjoyed the experience.
Oh, yes. Well, I know he served in the House
He did. He served
a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was in, I think, elementary school at that time.
Yeah.
I remember him coming over to Bel Air and talking to us, and I just thought it was cool. So. Oh, yes.
Without a doubt.
He definitely promotes our community and wants the best for it with all these initiatives. I think he just recently named actually a newcomer to our community, Dr. Danielle Henson, as the chairwoman for the Get Fit Tullahoma.
And this
Council.
is going to be this year the project is what, they're going to walk to California somewhere?
Oh, well, they're going to be walking to the Pacific, but they're following the footsteps of Lewis and Clark.
I see. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So, and actually that kicks off Monday night. So if you guys want to sign up, call down there to CD Stamps. I think the phone, or not CD Stamps, D.W. Wilson, 455-1121 is the phone number, and sign up to participate in that, and then you'll get historical facts along the way, and maybe trim up a little bit and just get motivated.
That's right. Get moving. It's got to be good for you.
And I think it's on August 20th, the Get Fit Tullahoma Council is going to be meeting. And if you wanted to be involved with that, go down on that day as well and join them. I forget the time. I think it's 11:30 a.m. if I remember correctly. That we just promoted that in the news the other day, or yesterday I believe it was.
Right.
And so it's kind of fresh on the mind. But again, it's another way to participate. You might not want to run for an office, but you can still participate in your city government and what happens and how your tax dollars are spent by joining one of these groups.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways to participate, shall we say.
Right. Now, I mentioned earlier about the turnout being 7% maybe in early voting, and it might be a total of 15 by the time we get through. We'll see. But that's a big deal for candidates. The turnout, and okay, all right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Mustang Sally. You better slow that Mustang down at Russell Barnett Ford in Tullahoma on Highway 55, where you can receive up to $4,000 off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Ford in Tullahoma. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Don't stop believing, Tullahoma. Faithfully, Tullahoma Parks and Rec is excited to welcome back Journey Resurrection, a Journey tribute band that will perform free for the public Friday, September the 6th at Fraser McEwen Park at 7 p.m. The wheel in the sky will keep on turning, so bring your chairs and blankets. Cold drinks and food will be on hand, and you can have it any way you want it. We'll see you there, rain or shine. Resurrection, a Journey tribute band in Tullahoma. Friday, September 6th at Fraser McEwen Park.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, we're back, folks, and I think we've got some new numbers for you. These totals will include Grace Baptist, correct?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
And it will have both precincts that exist out at Grace Baptist.
Right.
So now, granted, like you said, now what on average on these municipal elections we get about 11% turnout is the average. Is that pretty close?
I think we've seen more than that, maybe as much as 21, 22, but that's probably about the average, though, unless there's another election. This is the Grace Baptist totals there, and 15-1, that's going to be the one with 1,700 registered voters. Obviously, there's more than 82 votes there, but you see the trend stays the same, however. Grace Baptist is Blackwell leads there with 92 votes, followed by Daniel Berry and Jackie Duncan with 52. That's a difference of 22 votes in favor of Berry. That probably puts him in the lead.
That should put him about 10 ahead.
Correct. And this is the other precinct at Grace Baptist. Blackwell leading there with 11, followed by Berry, Duncan with 5, and Landers did not get any votes there. So plus 1. I think that puts Berry up by 12. There's the total, however we'll see.
Oh, yes. With the Rupa at 976. And I'd say there's no question that we're probably going to see Ms. Rupa Blackwell as a new alderman for the city.
Well, we
of
know
Tullahoma.
that because there's not enough votes left out there to make up the difference. So.
No, not at all. Not on this election cycle.
Right. And there are 12 votes separating Duncan and Berry, and with Daniel Berry leading right now.
And as soon as we get the numbers from CD Stamps, that should pretty well say, with the exception of what your provisional votes and your write-ins and things of that nature, which of course we won't know those numbers until the 15th.
Right.
So but it's very close.
And for that Duncan Berry race, it might be possible that could change, but I mean, that would make a difference here.
Oh, it'll make it. I'd say it very easily could.
Yeah.
Of course, we have all of our servicemen and women that are.
Right.
I know a lot of those guys are very passionate about getting their votes in, and but that's just how the process goes.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a friend. He now is retired from the military and living out in Las Vegas, but he took great pride in his mother always sending him his mail-in and filling out his ballot and sending it in for all the elections. So, of course, he's serving in the Air Force.
Sure.
So automatically he loves his community and his country and all that.
Right.
So.
All right, folks, we're waiting on one more precinct to come in, and as Chris just said, Rupa Blackwell, we declare a winner tonight. We called that race a little while ago, but
oh yes,
but still very much in doubt is the other seat, as we have Duncan and Berry separated by 12 votes. I think
exactly, and I mean, so I was like, well, one precinct, how's that going to really affect it? It's huge with 12 votes.
Right.
That's huge.
Right.
I mean, because we saw one precinct ago.
Right.
Jackie was 11 votes ahead. So
he was.
So that this last precinct will decide pretty well decide the outcome, but those write-ins and provisionals and all that.
And the precinct we're missing here is CD Stamps, and I think you mentioned earlier that that's where Jackie went to school, and it has a lot of ties to CD Stamps to this day. But you have to throw in that Franklin County section of town there that's in the city limits of Tullahoma. So I see that as maybe a wash. Either one, you could go either way, especially with Berry holding a 12-vote lead right now.
Oh yes, I think it's definitely it's a nail biter, which I enjoy these elections when they're close like this, because you never know how it's going to happen.
That's right.
I know last year during the election, I forget who it was, but there was one of those races was just continuously back and forth, and it was very exciting to watch. I know, unfortunately, you were under the weather. You were under the weather on that one, and so. But I forget which candidate. It doesn't really matter now, but that makes it exciting when you're seeing every precinct that comes in. It's going this way. It's going that way, and
Well, yeah, in the year before, it was kind of the same thing. There was a really close race between Robin Dunn and and Coach Mathis. Right there, both of them ended up elected, but
they did.
They were neck and neck there.
Oh yes, I do remember that one because I was still working with the newspaper at that time. So
right.
I went down to Robin's party was at Blue Bears that evening. So of course she is, I think had just left the high school and was, working toward politics and everything.
Right.
So has been an asset to the community.
I think she's done a really good job, and you got to admit she's really stepped up and took on some things and done an excellent job.
Well, I think we definitely needed someone with the level of passion she has for improving the sustainability of our community. Yeah. We had the recycling programs, but since she's came in and brought her energy, it seems that that has really blown up, and we're having the workshops on rainwater collection, and they've given away more of the composters, I think, during the last few months with Robin's spearheading that campaign than they did in the first, 4 years of having them down there.
Yeah, and I'll give her credit. I didn't think about composting at all until she came on the scene. But,
and that's the thing, and I remember Winston was promoting that program 4 or 5 years ago when Interlocal Solid Waste purchased them and donated them to the city. And so, but the community, I think at that time, Winston was a community coordinator, but he was so busy planning all this other stuff that, you know, it's hard to focus. Now you bring in an alderman that has made it the focus to the green, sustainable side of our community, and we have seen the results of that.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
And I noticed even just through the promotion of that the city has done, I see more of the recycling bags and stuff out on the curbs in the morning when I'm driving to work. So.
Yeah. Well, they've kind of changed the program a little bit, I believe, haven't they? It's pretty easy to do that these days.
Oh, yes.
You had to separate it and put it in certain kind of containers and all that kind of stuff.
And now it's just putting it in some form of container. You do have to separate.
Put it in another garbage bag or something.
Exactly.
And put it out there, you know, so it's pretty easy to do.
And you just have to make sure your aluminum's together, your plastics are together, and your cardboards are together, and your papers are together, and it doesn't even have to be a garbage bag. It can be.
We might not know that, folks, if we weren't in the news business. No, Chris probably would, but I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, but it doesn't just have to be a garbage bag. It can be boxes. It can be some form of container, but it just has to be separated differently. I mean, but that's.
Well, I looked out in front of my office the other day, which we weren't doing that for a long time there, and there was a bunch of boxes out there, and I said to my partner, "They're not going to take these boxes like that. You got to break them down and bind them up." No, wrong.
Nope, they just take.
Yeah, she had all these boxes together.
Yes.
And they picked them up, you know.
Yes, they do. I mean, I break mine down just so that they take up less space in my house, but.
Yeah.
And we're going to, I think, head out to commercial while we're waiting for the CD stamps results to come in. So we'll be back, return back to you here in a few moments.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Thank you for continuing to join us. We are still waiting on our last precinct to report in to us. So,
and we can tell you that Rupa Blackwell is the winner here, and for one of those seats anyway. That's our total of 976. That's our total for Rupa at this point, followed by Daniel Berry with 702 and Jackie Duncan with 690. That's a 12 vote difference there, and we're still waiting for totals from CD stamps.
Exactly, and those 12 votes could easily go another direction.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. We'd go ahead and call this if it was if it's still in question, but that's pretty close.
This is for sure. I mean, I still would be biting my nails on that one until the 15th. Until the 15th gets here. I think that one, we don't know what's going to happen there.
Right.
Because your write-in voters who might not know Daniel came back to town, may not know what he's about. They're going to vote for the longtime alderman and county commissioner, Jackie Duncan, and some of the folks that might have known.
I don't know if we get a lot of write-in votes, but we do get some, a few.
But
and we'll know how many they are at some point. But
I guess I should have said the provisional ballots and all that stuff. So. But
I don't. You might know more about that than I.
I just know like the ones they send out to all the servicemen and women, and so that won't be in until the 15th.
Right.
So they'll just certify these results on the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, and then they'll come back on the 15th and have everything else collected, and then declare the election.
Right.
Which is interesting. You can go down there and watch them do this if you want to at the Election Commission at the CCAP building in Manchester.
I didn't know that. You can do that.
Yes. It's a government agency.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So the open government, and they're all wonderful folks. Andy Farah and all them. They're great folks, and of course Vernita Davis was there for years. And like I said, it was nice seeing her.
You were talking earlier. I voted across the street, and I looked up, and there she was. It took me a minute to realize, what are you doing? You just retired. You're out here in the scene again. She did a great job as election commissioner for so many years.
Oh yes, always a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and now, where did Miss Nancy head off to tonight?
Well, the only thing we know for sure is that she went to First Christian Church.
Okay.
But so after we got those totals, anybody's guess.
But that was the first precinct we had reported.
That's right.
So
my guess is to some exercise class, or else she's out walking or something. She's into that big time. So.
Well, I know as long as I can remember, she's always been on the move.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, even when I was a young boy, she was always walking somewhere, going and wide open, ready to go.
That's right. That's right.
So it's always all those memories of folks that I grew up watching and admiring, and
exactly. We are waiting on one more precinct, folks, and which could swing that. We've already declared Rupa Blackwell a winner of one of those seats. The other one still very much in doubt, and we are waiting on that one precinct before we can provide any more information. There's a 12 votes difference between Daniel Berry and incumbent Jackie Duncan. So. We will get that to you as soon as we can, so kind of bear with us here.
I'm actually going to see if I can nudge one of our candidates to Skype us.
Yeah, that might be good. Yeah.
I'm not going to say which one I'm going to nudge, but I'm going to see if I can motivate them. I can't hear y'all.
I guess that means no.
No, that doesn't mean they might.
They might. Okay. All right.
So they're finding a humor in us talking and saying, "Hey, why don't you Skype us?" So
well, let me just say this. Chris and I typically work for different networks, although we know each other quite well. But this is not the easiest thing in the world to do, folks. When you're just treading water here, waiting for that information to come in. I've seen it much worse, however, in my long career, Chris. one night it was like 1 o'clock in the morning when
I know.
It was a countywide race, but
that was when they changed over the voting machines, wasn't it?
There was some problem. I forget. It was early. It was about early 1990s.
Okay, it was longer ago than that.
Yeah, yes, it was. And
I remember I think I was living in Murfreesboro when they went to the new machines, and it took forever to get the results that year. I think that was early 2000s, late 90s, something like that.
Speaking of that, there was a new process in Coffee County this year. And I assume that's a double check to make sure that the results are accurate. And that was where your ballot, you get a printout of your ballot, who you voted for, and then that is scanned. So.
And that they also had that on the last year's election as well, or at least I believe the last time I voted, I know they had that, and you could get the printout, and it was very cool. Of course, before this election, my last time I voted was in Franklin County, so fairly recently became a Coffee County and Tullahoma resident. So,
well, the last Alderman election, that was just last year, and that wasn't just Tullahoma City.
No.
So I had to drive to Franklin County to early vote there.
Oh, yes.
So I didn't know that process existed here.
Oh, okay.
In Coffee County. So.
Well, I thought they even changed. I thought the Franklin County one there was a little bit different. I remember for all the state representatives and everything, and I don't remember what was different now, but I do remember it being different. And of course, Coffee County even more different.
It's a strange thing when you live in the city limits of Tullahoma, but in Franklin County a little bit. So.
Well, yes.
I mean,
it is different. Well, Tullahoma touches several counties.
Yeah, right.
So, because we're in Coffee, Moore, Franklin, and Bedford. Yeah, where all the counties that Tullahoma touches. So, 4 counties that we touch.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Okay, you're probably not just joining us now. You've either left us, or you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We are going to get those numbers for you shortly, and 12 votes separating Jackie Duncan and Daniel Berry for the second seat. We could think Rupa Blackwell we declared her a winner. Not enough votes left out there to change that, but very close race there between those two.
Oh yeah, very true. Very close. Very. You can't call that at all.
Turnout again, pretty light tonight.
Very
under. We think about 15%, but
I'd say it's a little
maybe less, but
possibly. Like I said, but much better than the 2017. I was a poll runner, I think, over at Wilson Avenue Church of Christ that year.
Yeah.
And I remember the numbers were just horrendously low.
Turnout can mean a lot. I mean, well, it does mean a lot. And I guess I'll tell a war story now since we don't have any results to post. But I mentioned earlier that Lane Curley taught me to run it. I can't really blame him. I'll lay that whole blame on him. But running for state representative, and I remember we were running in Coffee County and Grundy County, and we did a lot of polling throughout the campaign and such. There were 6 people in the race. The other 5 were from Manchester or the upper part of Coffee County, and I was the only one from Tullahoma. So our strategy was, what we hoped would happen would be we would carry Tullahoma by a large margin, and that would overcome the split. We knew we weren't going to get a lot of votes where there were 5 other candidates, and
correct,
none of them from here. And anyway, our polling information told us that we needed to have a turnout in Tullahoma of about 25%, which wasn't a lot.
No.
Wasn't a lot. But anyway, on the election day, I was still in Grundy County when the polls closed, and I'm getting in my car to drive back to Tullahoma for a party like some of these folks tonight are having at various places. And I hear the Tullahoma precincts come in, and then, and we won big in Tullahoma, but I pulled over to the side of the road and figured the turnout, and it was 22%. And at that point, I knew there was no way we would win that race. But I drove back to Tullahoma anyway, obviously, and the party was in full swing, and nobody there knew that we probably were going to lose, except somebody who was really close to me. And so I just let it party on until we finally got the results, all the results in. But turnout's a big thing,
Well, and I think that even as a candidate, you should be able to revel in the fact that you participated, and you feel the pride for your community to go out there and try to represent your community.
Sure.
I think that is a huge thing that not all of us have. That, I don't know if determination is the correct word, but that drive and motivation, because a lot of us are just, we're concerned about what's going on in our day-to-day life, and only with us, we don't think about, I want to represent almost 18,000 people.
Right, exactly.
So, which is what it translates to, whether you're, a representative, or of course that would even have been more people. How many people would that have represented?
About 50, 60,000, something like that.
So, but as an alderman, you're only, of course, what, a little over 18,000?
A little over 18,000 people in Tullahoma, and but that's not to say you probably got to put a little more work in being representative, because you have to travel to Nashville.
Oh, for sure.
And all that kind of stuff. But other than that, your dedication and what you hope to accomplish for your constituents is probably the same. So.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I've listened to Mayor Curley's stories on numerous occasions about being a representative. So, and Judd Matheny's as well. So,
yes.
It is a lot of work. So, and that's one thing I love. The mayor always says he is the full-time, part-time mayor of Tullahoma.
Right.
Because it is a
and
full-time.
He actually has been. He's one who's been involved in so many things, and I know has spent a lot of time doing that. So
well, it's considered a part-time position,
right,
but it is a full-time job.
Right.
And because wherever he goes, he is Mayor Curley.
Right.
And he's involved. He has all of these programs going on, and he is actively involved in all of them.
Right.
So we are fortunate to have Karen. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Dr. Blanks or Alderman Noes or Alderman Mathis or Alderman Keene.
Right.
So I know we talked about Alderman Dunn earlier, but all of them, just you see them, and Alderman Duncan too, at all of these different events.
Sure.
And doing their best to represent the city of Tullahoma.
Right.
So, and it's wonderful because I see Dr. Blanks here every month because he's on our TUA board. So he is the liaison over here. So they all serve a board. I think Alderman Noes is out at the Airport Authority, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
And
which is a good place for him. He's
very knowledgeable in that
aerospace field. He is very knowledgeable.
And all the hypersonic work that they do out there at UTSI. I know we keep trying. We need to get him and Mr. Schmischer on for Talking Tullahoma, talking about the hypersonics out at UTSI.
Right.
And they're absolutely, it's amazing. So, yeah, apparently we were having some issues with our Skype. It's not, for some reason, allowing us to connect. They were trying to reach us, and they said they could not find ours, and we were trying to get in touch with one of them earlier, and it was telling us the same thing. We cannot find them in, it's typical of a lot of times of technology. At the last moment, it goes slightly awry, because when we tested everything last week, it worked perfectly.
Right.
And it worked this afternoon, but for some reason, right now, it's gone a little bit awry. It happens, unfortunately, but because we would love to.
But you gave it a good effort.
Oh, yes.
You know, absolutely.
I mean, and we're going to go to a commercial break right now, and we will be back and hopefully have some election results very shortly from CD Stamps. So stay with us and please come back.
The wait is finally over. The all-new redesigned Ford Ranger is back at Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. Stop and test drive one today at Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on Highway 55, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
An annual event started in 1939 will continue when the World Grand Championships celebration will once again be held in Shelbyville, Tennessee at the Celebration Arena. Each year, people come from all over the world to contend for the coveted honor of being crowned World Grand Champion. From the wonderful flat shod to the exciting performance horse, they will fill the ring with the breed's best of the best. The celebration supports local charities, and this year they are asking everyone to come out and support the largest nonprofit event in Middle Tennessee and the charities that depend on this event to fund their cause. Come out and be a part of a family tradition by showing your support for the annual Walking Horse National Celebration. For ticket and box seat information, call 931-684-5915.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Well, we haven't got her on screen yet. There she is.
Hey!
How are you tonight, Rupa?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Tired. Very pregnant and very good.
Well, you've been working so hard throughout this entire process. I mean, how does it feel to have a lead of, what, a little bit over 200 votes right now?
I'm feeling good. It feels, I feel overwhelmed, honestly. We have so many people who helped me and supported me and have worked their butts off the last time. I mean, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude right now.
Well, I know, like I said, I've been watching you out there wave to all the constituents and greet them and going door to door and and Miss Avery has been joining you this whole time.
Yes, she has. She's been a trooper, especially for kind of making her summer have to go up to doors, and people, you know, some of them are excited to see us and talk to us, and some of them aren't. But she has been my little trooper this entire time, and we knocked our team, me and my team, we knocked 2,000 doors. So really, it's been an amazing experience just chatting with everybody, finding out what matters to them, and letting them know that I really care about them.
And Jim, anything you would want to add?
Well, you know, when we first came on, the picture was a little blurry, and it looked like Rupa was dancing. Were you dancing when we first came on?
I wish I were. I can't move that well anymore. I was trying to find a place with light because I'm outside. It's clearly about to storm. So, yes.
Rupa, you've got to be happy tonight. Chris and I kind of declared you a winner a little while ago. There's not enough votes out there still to be to change that result. But do you feel good about this whole process?
I I love this process. Like I said, knocking on these doors, chatting with people. Our community is an amazing community. I'm so excited and so thankful that they have enough trust in me to vote for me and to pick me as their next alderman. So I'm overwhelmed with gratitude, and honestly now I'm just ready to get to work for everyone.
Oh, that's
I'm trying to stop.
Well, that's wonderful. Rupa, we thank you for being able to take some time and give us a call over here. It's wonderful, and honestly, congratulations for having such a lead at this point. That it's doubtful that number is going to change any.
No, I don't
We
think
never
it's
know
going to
that.
change any.
So I'm trying not to count my chickens before they hatch because we never know. So.
Well, that's always the smartest. That's where we have the benefit of, we can say things that it's pretty, we think it's fairly obvious, but we don't have skin in that game other than the vote we cast.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I can barely hear y'all inside here, so I'm just wanting to confirm. There's 2 precincts out still, correct? The Armory and CD Stamp?
yes, the CD Stamps is the only precinct that we're waiting on.
Okay.
So, and then of course the what's separating Alderman Duncan and Daniel Berry is 12 votes. 12 votes are separating those two, and then
we think you're pretty safe, Rupa.
And do we know total vote? Well, as of now, how many people have voted? So one of the goals that I had with my campaign was just to try to get people to actually vote in the municipal election, because so many people don't. Do we know what the turnout numbers are yet, other than CD Stamp?
Right now, our total numbers, I think Randy's going to pull them up on the screen here, so you can take a look. And so we have 1,000, 2,300. So right around 2,500 people voted.
Right. So that's a little bit better than the percentage than we might have thought earlier.
Oh yeah, around 2,500 people, give or take a few, but around 2,500 so far.
2,500 votes, but people can vote for 2 people, so that could be 1,250, or it could be, 1,600, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Because the CD Stamps precinct is this particular election represents about 2,000 people. So if all 2,000 of them came out, then we're going to have a great turnout.
Yeah, we would. But
That would be
the
amazing.
turnout's been a little less than that. I doubt we would. But,
I would figure we'd see maybe, about 50 to 100, somewhere in that range.
most likely, yeah.
So that's why, with your 200 and some odd vote lead, it's probably a safe bet right now.
I think so. Go ahead and start celebrating, Rupa. You're good.
Or at least go have a seat and relax and enjoy the fruits of all the hard work.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for covering this.
Thank you, Rupa. You have a good evening, and I'll probably see you here in a little bit, because I definitely want to come by and get an interview.
Awesome. We'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.
Thank you. And that was Rupa Blackwell.
Yeah, I think she was pretty happy.
She seemed to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we look forward to chatting. Eventually, we will chat with either Jackie Duncan or Daniel Berry once we know how that particular race seems to be going.
Right.
So.
And that may take a while. We're not sure still because it's so tight.
Oh yes.
Votes, so. It'd be a shame if we had to leave tonight without calling that race. But again.
Well, even after those results come in, I think it's probably going to be so tight that we truly won't know the winner of that second seat until
the election commission declares it, probably.
Exactly, because on the 15th is when I expect to know truly who won that coverage,
right,
or won that seat,
right,
because it's so tight.
Yes.
I mean, and let's say for some reason there was a mistake and you lost 10 votes over here, or you lost 2 votes over here, someone lost a couple of votes over there. I mean, and we're going to go to commercial, and we will be back with you guys here shortly.
Mustang Sally. You better slow that Mustang down at Russell Barnett Ford in Tullahoma on Highway 55, where you can receive up to $4,000 off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Ford in Tullahoma. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Don't stop believing, Tullahoma. Faithfully, Tullahoma Parks and Rec is excited to welcome back Journey Resurrection, a Journey tribute band that will perform free for the public Friday, September the 6th at Fraser McEwen Park at 7 p.m. The wheel in the sky will keep on turning, so bring your chairs and blankets. Cold drinks and food will be on hand, and you can have it any way you want it. We'll see you there, rain or shine. Resurrection, a Journey tribute band in Tullahoma. Friday, September 6th at Fraser McEwen Park.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We have someone on site at the Coffee County Election Commission, and they say they will have us some numbers here in a few minutes.
Right, and I think the way that works, you know, those discs out of those machines are gathered and brought to a central location in Tullahoma and then transported to Manchester. Is that your understanding?
That is, the way they explained it to me earlier is, of course, they break down their machine, they print out their stuff on a tape, then they break down their machines, they carry them to a location, then they take all the machines, the tapes and everything, put them inside of a vehicle, and then that truck heads off to the Coffee County Election Commission at the CCAP building.
Right.
So, and then they take everything in there. So, since for some reason, you know, and that's where our numbers from CD Stamps are in that truck right now.
Right. And we understand the truck's there. The truck just got there, so we've got somebody on site.
Yes.
And so hopefully within a few minutes we'll be able to finish this up. And that's, with those numbers.
And that's what I'm excited to see. You know, of course, it's wonderful to see the effort of Stephen Landers out there, but I'm looking real forward to seeing how many more votes Jackie Duncan and Daniel Berry get.
Right.
Because this is kind of, like I said, I love these elections where I have no idea. We have one precinct. I have no clue who's going to win that seat.
Right. Exactly. And my hat goes off to all those candidates, for goodness sake.
Oh, for sure.
You know, what a job they've done campaigning, and you know, Barry, a newcomer relatively to the political scene.
Oh yes, and just fairly recently, if I understand correctly, came back to Tullahoma.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, because I know when I don't remember the entire speech that he made at the chamber, but he hadn't been back less than a year, I think it was.
Right.
So, I mean, look, you got a guy comes back, gets a chance to come back home, comes back home, and immediately is trying to get back involved in the process. That's what we want from everyone, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Listening to Daniel talk, he played football at Tullahoma High School.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know that, and he uses a lot of the axioms, I think, from time to time that I'm guessing he learned from football and has applied that to his life.
Well, that's one thing, you know, you'll hear folks make comments from time to time, oh, why do we put so much money in athletics? And, you know, there's a certain amount of validity to that debate when it comes to some money, but having them there and the lessons that young people learn from those group sports and events, it's immeasurable. I can't tell you how much I've benefited from my years playing on team sports and whatnot. So, I mean, it gives you so many tools.
Yeah.
To
Absolutely.
use going forward in life.
Yeah. I've often said, especially during the lean years when Tullahoma High School was not winning.
I played on one of those teams. So.
Did you?
Yes.
But honestly, I think participation in those things builds character.
Oh, it does.
And will help you later in life, and you'll learn a lot of great lessons, even if you don't win every time.
I went through Tullahoma High School and on the football team at an interesting time. My sophomore year of high school, we went 1-9. We did beat Coffee County.
Right.
So, but then turned around the next year, which was Coach Olive's first year, and we went to second round of the state playoffs, I believe it was. I know we got put out in Cocke County, so over in East Tennessee, and I don't remember whether that second or third round, but I mean, it was night and day.
Right.
But so I played on the team that we kind of stunk to a very impressive squad, and much like some of our young men here recently, they went, what was it, 12-1 last year, or 12-2 last year?
11 and 3 maybe. Or
it was 11-2.
2 was it? Okay.
Because they lost one game and then one, but however that worked out. But but then the year before they went 0-10.
Right.
So I mean,
and they were expected to do good this year.
They are. So. They with a lot more brute force.
Right.
Because they have a lot larger size. But but going from those lean teams, you understand how fortunate you are when you go from like an 0-10 team.
Oh, sure.
To a championship caliber program. You don't take it for granted.
Right.
And you understand truly that it takes the entire team to make that happen, from the coaching staff all the way down to the water boy.
Right.
It is a truly a team effort.
Everybody contributes.
And everyone has to have the goal in mind. And that, much like our politicians.
Sure.
If you can't work together and you can't come together to achieve an end, then you might as well not be there.
Right. It's interesting to hear that you played for Coach Olive his first year that he came to Tullahoma.
Yes.
You are older than I thought because we started a football show with Coach Olive the first year he was here, and I remember one of the highlights of that for us was being kind of new at this game. That for some reason that we were filming, I believe it was the Franklin County game, might have been the second game of the year or something like that.
That would have been the first game of the year that season.
Did somebody run a touchdown?
Alfred Keith, first play of the game.
Okay, we missed that. We didn't get it on film. We were filming it, and we missed the kickoff return for a touchdown.
Trust me, that completely blew our mind because we came from, like I said, 1-9 team, and first play, first game of the season, that young man catches the kickoff, runs it back for a touchdown, and it was that's how the rest of our season went.
Yeah.
And we were just in awe the entire time. It was like, things are going right.
Right. And it's kind of a shock when you went through a long dry spell.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was. So, like I said, but it made us thankful. We were thankful when Alfred did that.
Yeah.
And then we were thankful again at the end of the game. It's like, I forget what the final score was, but nonetheless, we were thankful again that we did that, and then it just kind of kept going.
Right.
And even our loss in Cocke County at the end of the season, I mean, we were just so fortunate to have been there.
Right.
And I think everyone took it very humbly. And like I said, being fortunate but we had a coach and a coaching staff that supported all the players.
Right.
And it was wonderful. So, I mean, it was a pleasure being able to play under Coach Olive and the rest of those guys, I think.
Yeah, I could tell it was a new era for Tullahoma football. When
and it's still continuing.
Yeah, it's still continuing because he went through some tough years there and didn't have quite the team to do what he needed to do. But last year was a big time comeback, and I think this year is promising as well.
Well, it's like everything else. You go through cycles, and it doesn't matter. Every part of life is like that.
And when you're a high school football coach, what are you going to do? You got to play the hand you're dealt. So.
And in Tullahoma, we do not have a large pool to draw from. I mean, you play against some county schools, and it's a lot larger area.
Right.
So it's a little different ball game. No pun intended, actually. I mean, but like I said, how those ebbs and flows is, I think, very reminiscent of life, because I know here, about 10 years ago, we saw a lot of businesses and factories leaving us, and now we're starting to notice there's a lot of stuff coming back to town.
Right.
So I think patience and humility was learned by me and by many of my teammates at that time, that now we're being able to apply that to life, to where we don't see, instead of saying, town's going away because of this and this, we're like, well, what's the next chapter going to be?
Right.
And I think we're starting to see that next chapter start to play out as things, because Tullahoma is an interesting place to be right now.
It is an interesting place to be, and a great town to live in.
We have these are the current totals right now, with the exception of CD Stamps, which we will have in just a few moments, with Daniel Berry at 702 and Jackie Duncan at 690, Stephen Landers at 236, and then Rupa Blackwell well ahead with 976.
Yes, and there's got to be some anxiety there in the Berry camp and the Duncan camp. At this stage of the game, we apologize that we prolonged this to some extent, but it couldn't be helped. So,
but it gave us a chance to chat about other things going on around town, and but because there is so much stuff going on that inevitably, if you're an alderman in this town, you can touch all of these aspects of it. Sure,
you do,
and some in different ways. If you're over at, if you're over there at the Art Center, some of these folks may have had a chance to make a decision that brought new color and life to an old building.
Right.
And some much needed repairs. And then, be able to touch some of our young people and help make the school make decisions where they can reallocate money in other ways by saving money over here. Another alderman, like I said, sits on our board and helps us make decisions that better affect the members of our community. And then same thing out there at the airport authority. I mean, all these people touch every aspect of our community.
Yes, they do. You mentioned the Art Center. Did you know that building is haunted? Have you heard that?
I've heard that.
Yeah. Over the course of years, I've spoken to a couple of people who really say it's actually haunted. So.
I've never been there that late at night.
But it's a night's ghost, they say. So.
I said, I've never been there that late at night that I have ever experienced anything there, but I chalk it up to it's a 1800s building, and it's going to make some noises.
Of course.
My house was built in the 1930s, and it makes some noises.
Yeah, right.
I don't necessarily think it's haunted, though.
Right.
But there are some strange noises at times.
And we've covered a lot of subjects tonight, Chris, because
for sure.
we had to.
That's the beauty of
yes, it is,
an election and having to wait for results and the election commission is pulling the numbers right now, so we should definitely be updated here shortly, and be very exciting. So
yes, it will. You were talking about baseball a little while ago, and don't you think it's unusual that a town the size of Tullahoma has, I think, at least one guy in the major leagues and two more who are close? Well, the Sheffields and David Hess.
Well, Hess was called back up, I think, this week.
Yes.
And then, and Justice and Jordan could be called up at any moment.
Right.
And Justice was last year.
Right.
He and as a matter of fact, he and David Hess were dressed out on the same field during the same series.
That's right. I had forgotten about that. Yes.
So. They did not pitch in the same game against each other. So, but look at the number of professional baseball players that have come from this town, and not just the major leagues, but your minor league teams as well.
Well, yeah, Brian Morris for one, who just retired and now is the head baseball coach at Tullahoma.
Correct, and several others.
Juan Brazelton.
Yes,
first round pick. He might have been the first player.
And if I'm not mistaken,
third player taken.
Dewan should have been a classmate of Rupa and Daniel Berry's.
Oh, maybe, probably so. Yeah.
I think he was class of 98 or so.
Sounds about right, yeah.
I know he was either 3 or 4 years younger than I was.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking he was a freshman when I was a senior. But yeah, just wonderful. And then, of course, we have Jordan and Justice Sheffield right now, but Tony Sheffield also played minor league ball.
Right.
Which Phillips was it? Was it Timmy Phillips?
Okay.
Not Tim. It wasn't Tim.
Right.
But one of the Phillips boys.
Right.
Was played minor league ball. I mean, so we have all this talent. I mean, and we have professional football players. Steve Matthews.
Right.
And who else? A few others. But we are a fortunate town. Like I said, we mentioned professional athletes, musicians, actors.
Yeah.
Because there's a few actors that I've seen on some national television shows.
Must be something about the drinking water.
Well, DRUC.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, those guys take such pride in providing us with quality water.
I've said that as a joke, but we are very fortunate, honestly, to have the drinking water quality that we have in Tullahoma.
Oh yeah, I mean, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
But I know I've lived in other areas, and it's like, not even thinking about it, I would go to the tap, fill up a glass of water, go to drink it, and then I would spit it out because I forget. We live in Tullahoma, or the surrounding community, that all gets our water from DRUC, and it is not anywhere else as good as it is here.
Right.
So we are fortunate that Randall Breaker and all those folks out there do such a great job.
Randall Breaker explained to me one time how that worked, and the filtration system of Tullahoma water is unbelievable.
It is
state-of-the-art system.
Folks from all over the world come to look at how they do it, and have sustained such a level of high quality for so many years. And it's amazing. I mean, and they are very proud of the product that they put out. And I'm very thankful of the product they put out.
And we all should be, because it's as pure as any bottled water you'll ever buy in a lot of cases.
Well, there are rumors that some of the bottled water that you can buy is DRUC water.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
So but now they run it through another filtration process, but it is water from Normandy Lake, filtered by DRUC, and then it goes through another. Okay. So, I mean, you look at that, hey, and it's great. And you can easily meet. If you come to our Water Week celebration, you can meet Randall Breaker, the guy that's responsible for this wonderful drinking water.
Yeah. Now, you talk about a water expert. He is,
It's amazing. I mean, and he's willing to talk about it, and he can even break it down to where someone like me can understand what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Which I am not an engineer or a microbiologist, but he can make it to where I can at least follow the conversation.
Right. Exactly.
So, I mean, those guys are phenomenal.
Our friend Randy Brewer just said that it's only going to be a few minutes now until we have the totals. I believe they actually may be in-house.
They are in the house. He has the numbers on him.
And he will be updating our totals here, so we'll be bringing those to you very, very shortly.
And I can't wait to see how that this last precinct affects our outcome.
Right.
I think Rupa's, about 240 or so votes. I think she's pretty safe.
I think Rupa's safe, but very much in question. That second seat right now.
Oh, yes.
But Jackie Duncan and Daniel Berry.
and 12 votes.
Yeah, unreal.
Like I said, I would not want to be at either of those locations right now. I'm sure there's a lot of nervous folks.
It is, I'm sure, anxious moments for those folks. And Chris and I have tried to talk about anything that would pass the time until we got to this point. So we hope you found somebody interested in what two boards.
Well, we try, but I think it's why we do what we do. We enjoy our community.
We like a challenge, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, you wouldn't work in media if you didn't.
That's right, exactly.
But that's part of it. But I think more than anything, I know you value your community tremendously. Because I know they've supported you in various endeavors over the years, and Miss Nancy as well. Because I remember young memories of mine are out there at the Legion.
Yes.
So my grandmother was out there doing something, and I'd always see you and Miss Nancy doing.
We spent a lot of time at the American Legion in Tullahoma for many, many years.
Oh yes.
Until it closed, about 10 years ago.
Yes, it's been a while. I still miss being able to go out there and get a steak for two and some soup.
I miss that as well. I don't miss the late night hours, especially as I've gotten a little older. But I used to think in the early days when I was about 25, I can't believe they pay me to do this.
I can imagine.
But and it was still enjoyable. But
I know. Well, I know many members of our community were touched in various ways. I mean, of course, like you said, you guys hosted the football show there for a long time, and I think from like even the awards banquets for like Mu Alpha Theta and National Honor Society, I think you guys hosted that out there.
Yeah, we did a lot of that sort of thing.
And the football banquet was out there. The track banquet was out there. I mean, it was just this wonderful place to congregate and for the community to come to.
Yeah.
And also revere all of our veterans.
Sure.
So, because I do remember seeing, of course, Benny Garrett running around out there. And
Benny was commander of the post for many years, and Benny is not in really good health right now. So, but yes, he was very active in the organization.
And a lot of other folks. I mean, at the time I didn't think anything of it, but now thinking back, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that, in one way or another, did make history and change the world in some way or another.
Right.
All went through that.
I don't believe these numbers, how tight they are.
Really?
We hear these numbers are going to be tight. We should have some. The CD Stamps precinct numbers are in, and so it'll be our final numbers of the night. Of course. And these are from the Election Commission office. Election final numbers.
Oh my goodness. How close is that?
Okay, Daniel Berry 739, Rupa Blackwell 1017, Jackie Duncan at 734, and Stephen Landers at 246. But 5 votes separating Jackie Duncan and Daniel Berry. I mean, you can't even call that.
Yeah, that is unbelievably close.
These are unofficial numbers.
And these definitely are unofficial. They will not be certified. Numbers will not be certified until the 15th.
And but these numbers are, let me make sure I'm correct here. These numbers are from the Election Commission, so that's going to be the best that we've got
for the total finals. That is just amazing, right there.
Unbelievable. I haven't seen one this close in a while.
I mean, I think because I know when I leave here, I'm going to go and get a few interviews. I think I have 3 places to go instead of just 2.
I believe you do. But that's our final totals there, folks. Rupa Blackwell, as we've been saying for a while, you're winning at least one of those seats, 1,017 votes. And the other seat would go to Daniel Berry with 739 if these numbers hold up. Jackie Duncan, the incumbent, with 7.
And like I said, but these numbers will not be certified for about 2 weeks.
Right.
So on, I believe it's Thursday, well, right at 2 weeks, on Thursday, August the 15th, will be the final meeting to certify these numbers.
Right.
So, these are not official numbers. These are from the Election Commission, but they still have to certify everything. So stay tuned to your local media outlets, and on the 15th we will know officially who won that second seat.
Right, and although I would say that most of the time
it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. So right now it looks like Daniel Berry wins that seat. So
I would say so. But 5 votes. But that shows the importance of.
But again, let me reiterate: I haven't seen one that's close in a while. Not for an alderman seat.
But that's why it's so important to get out there and cast your vote and support the candidates you think will do the best job.
Right.
So,
okay.
Well, thank you, and you guys have a good evening.
Chris, it's been a pleasure working with you
Jim,
tonight.
it's always a pleasure. And you know,
and let's don't forget our friend Randy Brewer, who we'll have on camera next year.
Maybe. But we have some new cameras here that are remote controlled, so maybe we can set them up. And
good idea.
Well, we got to say goodbye and good night, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.